fans, comic geeks, and all the nerds in between. My name is Megan from Vigilante Vibes, where I talk everything Marvel from the MCU, Marvel Studios, to Marvel Comics. And today I want to talk about another character that falls into the mutant category. But I want to talk about, it is the mutant, the first mutant published, Namor. Namor was created by Bill Everett in April of 1939 for Motion Pictures Funnies Weekly #1, a promotional pamphlet that was given out for free at movie theaters. 6 months later, Everett expanded the 8-page black and white story into a 12-page color story for Martin Goodman's Marvel Comics #1. Talking about his creative process, Bill Everett explained, "I suppose I have always liked water. If anything started it, I suppose it was when I got interested in Admiral Byrd's expedition to the South Pole. I read a lot about that. The more I read, the more intrigued I became. So when the opportunity to create a character, I naturally thought of water. Jack London's adventures at sea were influential too. I used to read a lot of sea stories." That character was Namor he's talking about. Namor, back when he was mainly known as the Submariner, made his debut during the golden age of comics and is often considered the very first true anti-hero of comic books. Fun fact, he was also the first superhero who could fly. So, his encounter and explosive first fight with the original Human Torch, which was the android Jim Hammond, in Marvel Mystery Comics #8 in June of 1940, ended up making comic book history. This issue marked the first time superheroes met, fought, and teamed up in the same story, and it helped introduce the idea of a shared universe where multiple heroes all exist in the same world. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby brought Namor into the Silver Age with Fantastic Four #4 in May of 1962, folding him back into Marvel by tying his Golden Age history into modern continuity. They also explained that some of Namor's wilder Golden Age adventures were basically exaggerated stories told through comic books. Lee gave Namor a more formal, dramatic edge, complete with the pseudo-Shakespearean speech style he'd later use for Thor. He also coined Namor's famous battle cry, "Imperious Rex," and firmly established his underwater kingdom as the legendary city of Atlantis. That's all well and good. But who is Namor? We've all heard of him. We've all heard of his toxicity. But outside of his obsession with Sue Storm, who is he? Namor the Submariner is the half-human, half-Atlantean prince of the underwater kingdom of Atlantis, and people on the surface can't quite decide whether to love or fear him. Honestly, it kind of depends on the day, which I feel is the same for comic readers. If you threaten Atlantis, Namor will absolutely respond with overwhelming force. But if you earn his respect, he can be a fierce protector of the oppressed. Either way, he's proud, stubborn, and never short of confidence. He is a cocky MFer. As Atlantean royalty, Namor takes his job super seriously. Maybe too seriously. He's led invasions, started wars, made alliances whenever it suited his vision of how the world should work. He's been a part of just about every major superhero team at some point. That includes Avengers, Defenders, X-Men, even the Illuminati. When teamwork fails him, he's not above forming morally questionable groups like the Cabal to get results. At the end of the day, Namor answers to no one but himself. Namor's origin starts with his human father, explorer Leonard Mackenzie, whose underwater explosives accidentally damaged Atlantis. They brought him face to face with Atlantean Princess Fen, and what started as suspicious turned into love. Their son Namor, whose name means avenging son, grew up to fully embrace that meaning. From a young age, he showed signs of incredible power, including super strength, longevity, telepathy, and eventually flight thanks to the little tiny wings on his ankles. But we will get into everything he can do a little later. Growing up wasn't exactly peaceful. A disastrous quest involving a powerful magical relic led to tragedy, corruption, and the birth of a lifelong rivalry with the water lord Atuma. As Namor matured, he often lashed out at the surface world for polluting the oceans and harming his people, clashing repeatedly with humanity's heroes, especially the Human Torch. During World War II, Namor surprised everyone by teaming up with the surface heroes like Captain America and the Human Torch to stop the Axis powers, forming the Invaders. Even after fighting side by side, though, his relationship with humanity stayed very, very rocky, and it seems like that's exactly how he wanted it to stay. Namor is incredibly powerful, especially underwater, and has gone toe to toe with some of the Earth's strongest beings without backing down. Over the years, Namor's life has been defined by shifting alliances, personal losses, and hard choices. He's loved deeply, lost tragically, from Lady Dorma to Marina. He's ruled Atlantis, lost it, rebuilt it, and lost it again. He's destroyed worlds to save others. He's held Infinity Stones, battled gods, invaded Wakanda, and been killed and resurrected more than once. So he has lived a life. Somewhat more recently, Namor has leaned hard into protecting the oceans at any cost, even if that puts him at odds with the Avengers again, which he does not care about. He's formed his own ocean-focused teams, issued ultimatums to other sea-based heroes, walked the line between king, conqueror, and anti-hero. Sometimes he pulls back from the brink, other times he goes all the way in, balls to the wall. Through it all, one thing never changes. Namor believes he knows what's best for his people, and he's willing to fight anyone to make it happen. Cross him, and you'll make an enemy for life. Earn his respect, and you might just gain one of the most dangerous allies on the planet. Namor is complicated, and most people don't really get him. He's incredibly arrogant and genuinely believes he's better than almost everyone else in the world. Pride is kind of his whole thing. He hates asking for help, especially from anyone he sees as weaker, which is basically everyone that's above land. He's blunt. He's confrontational. Even with allies, he's more likely to bark orders or make threats than politely ask. He's also impulsive and hot-headed, and his temper often gets him in trouble. That said, Namor isn't all ego and anger, just mostly. Beneath it all, he has a strong moral core. He'll always stand up for the oppressed and push back against the powerful, even if it means turning on his own allies. He's willing to make brutal, no-win choices and even sacrifice himself if it means saving innocent lives. No hesitation, no excuses. Even though his pride keeps him from admitting mistakes out loud, Namor carries a lot of guilt. He feels the weight of his failures and the weight of the lives he's taken, even when he believed that he had good reasonings at the time. He doesn't show it often, but he does respect a very, very small circle of people. That includes Captain America, Cyclops, Reed Richards, and surprisingly had a long on-again, off-again friendship with Dr. Doom. As a ruler, Namor governs with an iron fist, but he's fair and genuinely devoted to his people. And he's proven more than once that he'd die for them without a second thought. On a more personal note, Namor is famously a womanizer. While he's known to have a soft spot for blondes, one blonde in particular, he's also pretty open-minded and adventurous, and even forming romantic relationships with beings that aren't exactly human. Now that you kind of get an idea of who Namor is, what exactly can he do? Besides being an alpha-level mutant, he also has some pretty cool powers that I'm interested to see if they'll make it into the MCU. It's probably not. He's amphibious physiology. His body was built for life underwater. So, yeah. Superhuman strength. All Atlanteans are strong, but Namor is on a whole different level, even compared to his own people. When he's underwater or in contact with water, his strength has been classified as class 100, dropping to about class 85 on the surface and slowly weakening as the longer he stays dry. Even so, dry Namor has casually beaten Luke Cage, used him as a weapon, knocked out She-Hulk with a surprise hit, while also matching the Thing blow for blow. Underwater, he's dominated the Red Hulk, gone toe-to-toe with Savage Hulk, Hercules, Thor, Beta Ray Bill, Ares, Wonder Man, Sentry, and even made Thanos bleed. He's lifted thousands of tons with ease, swam against a temporal storm despite dehydration, and has been described as one of the most powerful beings on Earth. His strength once being called supreme beneath the sea. After temporarily absorbing Hydro Man's powers, his strength skyrocketed far beyond his wild imaginations. Another thing he has is speed. He is faster than any Olympic level human on land, but his real speed shows in the water. While most Atlanteans top out around 60 miles per hour, Namor hits speeds exceeding 300 knots, which is over 345 miles per hour while swimming. He has incredible stamina, incredible agility and reflexes, durability. His body is extremely tough. Healing factor, he does get hurt, but his body heals much faster and more completely than a human's or even an Atlantean's. Radiation absorption, Namor can absorb certain levels of radiation, though his upper limit isn't fully known. Longevity, Atlanteans age far more slowly than humans, with an average lifespan at about 120 years. Namor is currently considered to be in his physical prime, and he just has been for who knows how long. Underwater breathing, that's an obvious one. Aquatic telepathy, he can mentally communicate with marine life and compel sea creatures to follow his commands. Electrolocation, similar to certain fish, Namor can sense faint electrical currents in water. Enhanced senses. His vision lets him see clearly through the dark ocean depths and murky waters, and his hearing is so sharp that he once claimed he could detect ocean currents shifting by a single degree. He claimed it. Flight. Namor's iconic ankle wings allow him to fly extreme speeds, fast enough to outpace a military jet. So that's kind of cool. Water manipulation. After temporarily siphoning Hydro Man's powers, Namor gained control over water itself. So he used his ability to part massive bodies of water and even flood a prison cell thousands of miles away from an ocean. As a subdivision under that, rain manipulation. On one occasion, Namor summoned a heavy rainstorm powerful enough to douse Johnny Storm's flame from mid-flight, which is so rude. Along with these abilities, he's also an expert in fighting. He is a bold diplomat. He has diplomatic immunity. As the leader of a sovereign nation, he often visits the United States or United Nations for political reasons. He employs diplomatic immunity during these trips, which I would too. He's an expert tactician. He's multilingual. He speaks virtually every language on Earth. He's a skilled engineer. He is a talented business executive. And he's actually very talented in sculpting. It's something he does not want surface dwellers to know. Some of his work includes busts of Sue Storm, so yeah. So you know all the good stuff about Namor, but what are some of his weaknesses? You know, besides hot blondes who are in a relationship. Oxygen imbalance. Namor has a known weakness when he spends too much time either underwater or on land. Staying in just one environment for too long can throw his oxygen levels off completely out of whack. Bipolar tendencies. When that imbalance kicks in, Namor becomes extremely short-tempered and has trouble thinking clearly or logically. Basically, when they say he's seeing red, he's seeing red. Head injuries. Under certain, not fully understood conditions, Namor has shown an odd vulnerability to head trauma. In rare cases, a well-placed blow, like being struck by a lead pipe by an ordinary human, has knocked him out. He has major PTSD. A big reason behind Namor's emotional instability is severe psychological trauma from World War II. Witnessing and participating in atrocities on both sides left deep, deep scars. Dehydration, that is obvious. Pollution. Polluted water is bad news for Namor. Exposure to it can harm his physiology and significantly reduce his effectiveness of his physical abilities. And his ankle wings. Even though Namor's ankle wings don't provide lift on their own, they're essentially his ability to fly. If they're damaged or destroyed, he is grounded. And they also heal very slowly. After losing them in the past, it took a long time for them to fully grow back. So that is Namor Mackenzie, the Submariner. He is a character with the biggest backstory, which it was very, very hard to put into one episode that was not an hour long. I didn't want to talk for an hour long. But yeah, he is an iconic character. He set the tone for very many characters in Marvel Comics and other comic publishers. So yeah, that's Namor. He's a toxic little thing, and I love the toxicity. So we are getting him in Avengers Doomsday, and we're also getting Sue Storm in Avengers Doomsday. So I'm very interested to see that dynamic, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be nothing more than him checking her out and her rolling her eyes at him. It's something more tame than, when he once kidnapped her to make her marry him, and then Reed was like, I'm going to kill him. And then Reed just kind of beat the brakes off him. Those things, little things. We all go through it. It's fine. So I hope you liked this episode. I hope you will like and subscribe. And I hope you have a marvelous day.